Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Faithful Friday. What a time to be alive. I feel so good to be alive and well. I hope you all have had a fantastic week and that you were able to forge ahead in ways that you could have not imagined. We all start the week off like, I don't know if I can do this. And then we get to the end of the week and we say, guess what? I made it. Today is absolutely beautiful. We are trending, I think, a high of 79 on today, and we've got a weekend that's filled with 70s as well. This, for me, was a fully loaded week. I'm talking about fully loaded, and if it had not been for God on my side, I'm not quite sure where I would be. I started this week off having to ask myself, am I frustrated because of some deadlines that I've gave to God? We already know that God does not view time the way that we do. He just doesn't. And although we don't know God's time, we cannot afford to waste time. This week taught me about procrastination and how dangerous it can be because it's based on the assumption that the opportunity is going to still be there tomorrow. And sometimes it's not. I learned this week through online ministry that procrastination is actually disobedience in slow motion. Talk about how powerful is that? Disobedience in slow motion because you won't do what it is that you're supposed to be doing. We're in the 6th month of 2024, and many of us are still saying, I gotta get this done. I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna start that. The time is now. The time is now. We can't wait any longer to start and do those things that we said that we were going to do. And then we have to realize there are certain things in our life that are time sensitive, and we have to, we can't be, trying to play it safe. Life is too short to play it safe. And I was reminded by that. Thank you, Shay Sparks. I was reminded this week by that. Life is too short to play it safe. You've got to go for the gusto. You've got to go after those things that you told yourself that you were passionate about, and then you have to know that for me, I've learned that rushing is dangerous. You make a lot of mistakes when you start rushing. Rushing is also death to discernment because you can't think clearly. You can't think logically. You don't have a lot of time, so you're trying to make decisions quickly. And often that's not for your good. Finally, this week, I was just left with the nugget that you can't recognize expiration. When you can't recognize expiration dates, you risk consuming things that are spoiled. What does that mean? Consuming things that are spoiled, things that are outdated, ideas that are outdated, ideas that maybe are not going to work anymore, maybe things that you don't have the time for, you don't have the room nor the capacity. And I think we talked about that at the top of the year, just recognizing if we have capacity for certain things. Do we have the financial capacity? Do we have the mental capacity? Do we have the time capacity? Knowing, do we have the capacity? And sometimes for certain things, they have expired and we're consuming things that are spoiled and we're frustrated because those things are not working. This week, I was just blessed to hear so many good reports of how God was moving in individuals' lives that I know. And for me, it was just quite motivating. Why? Because these people, a lot of them I'm personally close with. And that lets me know that God's in the neighborhood. And if he did it for them, he can do it for me too. He can do it for you too. Sometimes we believe that we're experiencing some terrifying times. I'm talking about terrifying times in our life. And until we realize, till we come into the realization that it's terrorizing, it's only terrorizing until we remove our hands from situations and circumstances, accept reality, and allow God to do what only he can do. Man, if that wasn't a message for me, if that wasn't me this week, just take your hands off of it. Let it go. You're not in control. God's got it. Pray about it and go on about your business. I'm talking about the highs, the lows, the midday breakdowns were tearing me up this week. And I'm being honest, like literally there was some days I'm like, I can't take it. I can't do it. I give it to you, God. And thank God for my soul sisters that just stepped in, that I could be transparent with and tell them, hey, today's not a good day. And they were immediately like, we're not going to talk about it. We're going to pray about it and we're going to push through. Those are the type of people I'm telling you, you cannot beat having in your life. You can have some buddies, you can have some pals, you can have some BFFs. But when you get some soul sisters, some soul brothers in your life that's going to pray you through some situations, going to pray you through some circumstances, that's going to remind you of the power that lies inside of you, there is nothing that can stop you when you guys connect. You know, often the greatest source of our suffering, is the refusal to accept what we cannot change. I'm learning that. Some things you just can't change. They're going to be the way they are. And it's just all about how are you going to move forward in this thing? How are you going to navigate around it? How are you going to see past the mountain? How are you going to come past the point of hitting the wall? Because I felt like a lot of my week was just hitting brick walls that I couldn't get past, and I couldn't figure out, okay, where do I go next? God, you know, because what we have to figure out what's hurting us in that moment, whatever may be hurting us in that season. It's not our full story. It's just a chapter. You know, nuggets were coming in from all over the place this week. And when I'm talking about those brick walls, I had to remember God is the doctor. His medicine is his word. His medicine is the word. You know, we will only be healed when we take our medicine. We will only be able to get over certain things when we take our medicine. We will only be able to not let certain things get under our skin when we take our medicine. Some need heavier doses than others. Sometimes I only need a little bit of medicine because I'm rooted and grounded in maybe something that is keeping me fueled. And sometimes I need a whole lot of medicine, and I got to go see the doctor to get it. You know, the medicine that God gives, it keeps us going. It keeps us happy. It keeps us whole. It really does. It keeps us going. You can't make it without it. You know, every little thing will get under your skin. Every little thing will bother you. You know, this week I was also reminded, you know, when I was just collecting nuggets, that many of us are living beneath our means. We are. You know, it's a shame to live in the basement when God has called you to live in the penthouse. It's a shame to live low when God has called you high. He wants to do some things in your life, and you're just in a mode to want to stay stuck in the situation that you're in. You know, I closed out this week just focusing on the power of how I speak. I have been saying this for weeks, and I'm going to continue to say the way how we speak. It determines the course of our life. It really does. When we steer our lives by our words, we are slow to speak because we weigh everything out that comes out of our mouth consciously. We think about it before we say it. How is it going to affect me to say this? How is it going to affect someone else to say this to them? Yeah. We're thinking about all that. We want to say things that truly represent what we mean, and those things that are going to steer us in the right direction. We have to remember that our tongue, it's a powerful tool, and it can be used to speak blessings or curses. You know, I have to fight to not be careless. I have to fight to not, rely on earthly wisdom. And I cannot afford to speak jealousy or selfish ambition, because that itself produces disorder. I have to love my enemies. I cannot have the desire to repay evil for evil. And I have to sow peace so that I can reap a harvest of righteousness. I'm telling y'all, God was really dealing with me on this week. There's just some things that he pulled and plucked out of me that I didn't know when Monday started. I was going to go through the things that I had to go through this week. But I remain grateful for all moments that he causes me to pause and just really think, you know, where are you going? How do you want to get there? How do you want to look when you arrive getting there? And do you want to rush, or do you want to take your time? Do you trust my timing, or are you moving on your own timing? Are you giving me deadlines that I need to compromise with? Or are you trusting me to get you there right on time? And I'm at a place in my life, I'm trusting God to get me there right on time. You know, for most, it is officially the disconnect. Do something that your future self will thank you for. Even if it's just getting some rest. If you're looking for the guys, you can find us at Garfield Park Farmers Market tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. If you've not had a chance, we will have barbecue treats and, of course, sauce deals. If you have not had a chance, you can check out Shay Sparks' Performance Recap. It is now on YouTube. But I'm telling y'all, God is good, not just on Faithful Friday, but I'm talking about every day. He is worthy to be praised. Until next time, let your light shine. I don't care how anyone feels about it. Why? Because your transparency is leading to so many others being transformed. This has been your girl 7. You know the drill. I will see you soon.